In a jaw-dropping twist that's got the whole country buzzing, President Trump has just commuted the prison sentence of George Santos, the once rising star in Congress, who fell from grace in spectacular fashion. But here's where it gets controversial. This decision isn't just about one man's fate. It shines a light on bigger questions about justice, political loyalty, and who's really held accountable in America. Stick around, because there's a lot more to unpack here that might change how you see this story. Imagine this. George Santos, fresh out of his expulsion from the U.S. House of Representatives, captured in a photo as he walks away from the Capitol building on December 1st, 2023. That image marked a low point for the New York Republican, who soon faced a barrage of federal charges. After pleading guilty to serious crimes like wire fraud and aggravated identity theft, he was handed a hefty prison sentence exceeding 7 years. Prosecutors painted a damning picture of Santos as a man behind a mountain of lies, theft, and fraud, all designed to line his pockets and fool campaign donors who trusted him with their money. He started serving his time in July at the Federal Correctional Institution in Fairton, New Jersey. A stark reminder of how far he'd fallen. But Santos's troubles began long before his courtroom drama. Elected in 2020, whispers of his fabricated background started circulating almost immediately. He confessed to exaggerating or outright inventing details about his education, job history, and even his personal upbringing. Despite these red flags and irregularities in his campaign finances, he was still sworn into Congress in 2022. It didn't take long for the truth to catch up, though. Less than a year into his term, in 2023, the House of Representatives voted 311 to 114 to boot him out, a historic move that made him the 6th member ever expelled from the chamber, and the first without a prior criminal conviction. At the time, he was staring down 23 felony charges, a number that underscored the severity of his actions. This is the part most people miss. The expulsion vote saw nearly every Democrat and over 100 Republicans uniting against him, proving that even in a divided Congress, some lines aren't crossed lightly. For beginners wondering what expelling a lawmaker means, it's a rare and extreme step where the House kicks out one of its own, stripping them of their seat and any remaining power. It's not something that happens often. Think of it as the legislative equivalent of a firing squad for politicians. Now, fast forward to Trump's announcement on Truth Social, where he declared the commutation official. For those new to the term, a commutation means the president shortens or eliminates a prison sentence without erasing the conviction itself. It's like getting a get-out-of-jail-free card, but the crime still stains your record. Trump didn't mince words, calling Santos a rogue and arguing that plenty of other shady characters roam free without facing similar punishment. And this is where things get really heated. Trump drew a direct comparison to Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut, a Democrat who admitted 15 years ago to misspoking about his Vietnam service. Blumenthal did serve in the Marine Reserve from 1970, but he never set foot in Vietnam, unlike the war stories he implied. Trump blasted this as far worse than Santos' offenses, adding that at least Santos had the courage, conviction, and intelligence to always vote Republican. Ouch! This comparison is bound to spark outrage because it pits two very different scenarios against each other. One involving military exaggerations from decades past, and the other a fresh pile of financial crimes and deceit. Is Trump right to equate them? Or is this just a way to deflect from Santos' actions? And here's the controversial twist. Does political affiliation really trump, pun intended, the severity of crimes? Some might argue Trump's stance rewards loyalty over integrity, potentially setting a precedent where supporters get a pass while others don't. It's a bold take that could fuel endless debates. To put this in context, Trump's second term has already seen a flurry of high-profile pardons and commutations. For instance, he issued a sweeping pardon to over 1,500 individuals involved in the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot, a move that many saw as rewarding participants in what some call an insurrection, while others view it as rectifying perceived injustices in prosecutions. Then there's the pardon for former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich, who was locked up for corruption, including attempting to sell a Senate seat left vacant by Barack Obama. Trump actually commuted Blagojevich's 14-year sentence back in his first term, showing a pattern of leniency toward political allies or figures tied to his orbit. These examples highlight how presidential pardons can reshape lives and narratives. For a beginner, think of it like a powerful reset button in the justice system, but one that's used sparingly and often controversially. Does it heal divisions, or does it deepen them? In Santos' case, Trump's action frees him immediately, but it raises questions about whether this encourages more rogues to operate with impunity. So what do you think? Is commuting Santos' sentence a fair exercise of presidential power, or does it undermine the rule of law? Do you agree with Trump's comparison to Blumenthal, or is that a stretch too far? And here's a thought-provoking one. If loyalty to a party or leader can lead to such mercy, what does that say about our justice system's priorities? Drop your opinions in the comments. Do you side with Trump, or are you shaking your head? Let's discuss.